10 Things AI Cannot Do for Student. The skills technology cannot replace. Artificial intelligence has changed the way students learn. With a few prompts, learners can receive explanations, generate revision questions, organize notes, and get help with difficult topics. However, the growing presence of AI in artificial intelligence has changed the way students learn. With a few prompts, learners can receive explanations, generate revision questions, organize notes, and get help with difficult topics. However, the growing presence of AI in education has also created an important question: what can technology never do for a student? Education has also created an important question: what can technology never do for a student? AI can process enormous amounts of information and respond within seconds, but education is about more than obtaining answers. Real learning involves judgment, relationships, curiosity, resilience, creativity, and the ability to apply knowledge to situations that cannot always be predicted. These are qualities that develop through human experience, practice, and interaction. This distinction is particularly important as Nigerian students increasingly turn to AI tools for assignments, research, and examination preparation. Used responsibly, AI can complement learning. However, when students allow it to do too much of the thinking, they risk losing opportunities to develop the very abilities education is supposed to build. Understanding what AI cannot do is therefore just as important as knowing what it can do. 1. AI cannot think critically for a student. AI can present arguments, compare ideas, and generate possible answers, but it cannot take responsibility for a student's judgment. Critical thinking requires a learner to question information, examine evidence, identify assumptions, and decide whether an argument makes sense. A student who simply accepts an AI-generated response without checking it may receive an impressive-looking answer while failing. To understand whether the information is accurate, this matters because AI can produce incorrect or misleading information while sounding confident. Students therefore need to develop the ability to challenge what they read rather than assuming that technology is automatically right. In an examination, classroom discussion, or workplace situation, the ability to evaluate information independently is far more valuable than simply knowing how to generate an answer. AI can provide possibilities, but the final judgment still belongs to the human learner. 2. AI cannot replace genuine understanding. There is a significant difference between receiving an answer and understanding it. A student can ask AI to solve a difficult mathematics problem. Write an essay or explain a scientific concept within seconds. However, if that student cannot explain the reasoning behind the answer or apply the concept to a new situation, little genuine learning has taken place. Education is not simply about producing correct answers. It is about developing knowledge that students can remember, connect, and apply in different circumstances. This is why copying AI-generated assignments can be particularly dangerous. The work may look excellent on paper, but the student may struggle when a teacher asks questions about it or when an examination requires independent application of the same knowledge. AI can assist the learning process, but it cannot learn on behalf of the student. 3. AI cannot replace teachers. The rise of AI has led to concerns about whether technology could eventually make teachers unnecessary. However, teaching involves far more than delivering information. A good teacher notices when a student is confused, discouraged, or unusually quiet. They can adjust a lesson based on the mood and needs of a classroom, encourage a struggling learner, and recognize progress that may not appear in examination results. Teachers also provide mentorship, discipline, encouragement, and human connection. They challenge students to think beyond what they already know and often become important role models in their lives. AI can explain a topic repeatedly, but it does not possess the human relationship that makes education meaningful. A chatbot can respond to a student's question, but a teacher can recognize why the student is struggling and determine what kind of support may actually help. Technology can therefore support teachers, but it cannot reproduce the full human experience of teaching. 4. AI cannot build character. Academic success is only one part of education. Schools also help young people develop values that influence how they behave towards others and approach responsibilities. Honesty, empathy, patience, accountability, courage, and integrity are not simply pieces of information that can be downloaded. They develop through relationships, choices, consequences and real-life experiences. A student may ask AI to explain why honesty matters, but reading an explanation is different from making an honest decision when dishonesty appears easier. Character is developed when people face difficult situations and choose how to respond. Parents, teachers, mentors, and communities therefore remain important in helping young people develop these qualities. AI can discuss values, but it cannot live them on behalf of a student. 5. AI cannot give students real-life experience. There are lessons that cannot be fully learned from a screen. A student may use AI to learn about public speaking, leadership, or teamwork, but actually standing before an audience is different from reading about presentation techniques. Working with classmates on a difficult project is different from asking AI how to collaborate. Managing disappointment after losing a competition cannot be replaced by receiving motivational advice from a chatbot. Real-life experiences create practical knowledge. They expose students to uncertainty, mistakes, pressure, and unexpected outcomes. These experiences are particularly important because life rarely follows the predictable structure of a textbook. Students need opportunities to participate in debates, group projects, competitions, internships, volunteering, and other activities where they can apply what they have learned. AI can prepare a student for an experience, but it cannot have that experience for them. 6. AI cannot develop genuine social skills. Communication is one of the most important skills students need beyond school, yet it cannot be fully developed through interaction with machines. Students learn social skills by speaking with people, listening to different opinions, resolving disagreements, and working towards shared goals. Classroom discussions, friendships, group assignments, and extracurricular activities all contribute to this development. 7. AI cannot replace creativity. AI can generate poems, stories, designs, business ideas, and images, but this does not mean it can replace human creativity. Creativity is deeply connected to personal experiences, emotions, observations, and the ability to see possibilities that others may overlook. A student's unique background can influence the way they interpret a problem or express an idea. If students constantly ask AI to generate their ideas, they may gradually become less willing to struggle through the creative process themselves. The difficult part of creativity is often not producing the final product but developing the original thought that leads to it. 8. AI cannot provide real motivation. AI can create a study timetable, send reminders, and provide encouraging words, but it cannot create genuine personal motivation. Motivation is often connected to personal aspirations. A student may want to become a doctor because of a desire to serve others, become an engineer because of an interest in solving problems, or pursue entrepreneurship because of a vision for creating jobs. These personal ambitions cannot be programmed into a learner by a chatbot. 9. AI cannot replace curiosity. Curiosity begins with wondering why something happens, whether an idea could work differently, or what might exist beyond what is already known. It encourages learners to investigate rather than simply accept information. There is a danger that instant answers could discourage this process. When students can ask AI for an explanation immediately, they may miss the opportunity to investigate a question themselves, read different sources, or discuss it with others. 10. AI cannot live a student's life for them. Perhaps the most important limitation is also the simplest. AI cannot experience life. It cannot sit in a classroom and feel nervous before answering a question. It cannot experience the excitement of passing an examination after months of preparation. It cannot know what it feels like to disappoint a parent, overcome a difficult subject, or make a new friend at university. These experiences shape people. Students do not attend school simply to collect information. They are developing identities, discovering interests, learning how to handle failure and success, building relationships, and preparing to participate in society. These parts of education cannot be outsourced to technology. A student who allows AI to complete every difficult task may save time in the short term but lose opportunities to develop independence. Struggling with a problem. Making mistakes and eventually finding a solution are valuable parts of becoming capable. Subscribe for more videos.